Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching this video from. Now, I know it's been months. It's been a very, very long time since I last came here on YouTube to talk to you, to discuss with you. This is Joy and Comfort Inspiration YouTube channel where we learn, unlearn, and relearn, because life is full of lessons. We are students of life, we can never know everything. We keep learning. Therefore, it is very important that as you learn, you unlearn some of the things. Some things do not add value to your life anymore. Certain things do not help you in any way. So you'll have to let them go and relearn to see how best you can move on with life. Now, if it is the very first time to watch these videos or to come to my channel, I kindly ask you to subscribe. Just hit the subscription button and hit the notification bell as well, so that you do not miss out anything that I am going to be sharing right here on Joy and Comfort Inspiration YouTube channel. Now, what I'm holding in my hand is my latest baby, a book that I wrote and launched on the 3rd of June at Fairway Hotel. Now, this book says, thrive above self-sabotage. You deserve more than you are settling for. How many times have we decided to settle for something that has not, that does not actually add up with what we had in plans for ourselves? How many times have we decided to settle for something because we think like, okay, this is the best I can get? It could be a relationship, it could be a job opportunity, or anything. You've settled for it because you feel it is the best you can get. In actual sense, there is better that is ahead of you. There is better that you can get. But you've decided to just, you've decided to get what is available to you, because something inside you tells you you are not worthy, you are undeserving, you do not deserve good. Something is telling you. I'm here to remind you that you are unique, that there is so much within you that you can get. My name is Joy and Comfort Agazu, and thank you for joining me on Joy and Comfort Inspiration YouTube channel. Okay, so diving straight into what I want us to look at, I just want to give you something brief from what I wrote, from some of the things that I wrote in this book. Now, someone is going to ask, why did I get the motivation to write about thrive above self-sabotage? It is a journey that I have walked, and in this book are a number of stories, real life stories, my personal stories, experiences that I have shared. They're right in this book. There once was a time that I felt I do not deserve more than I deserve. I do not deserve more. The moments I felt like, okay, this is the best I can get, so I will take up this because of different reasons. Your reasons of settling for less could be the same reasons that, pushed me to settle for less. Among these reasons are things like the mistakes that we've made, At times you make a mistake and you feel like, because I made this mistake, I cannot get any better. I cannot get out of this and get a better situation. That happens in our everyday life. At times it could be, our past. It could be our family background. You feel like, I come from this family where no one has ever been to the university. I come from a family where no one has ever gone out of the country. I come from a family where no one has ever owned a car. Therefore, who am I to dream about these things? This book here addresses all that. And as I've said, it is a book that I've written for my personal experience. Everything that I've written in here is something that I have been through, is, the solutions that I have put right here are solutions that I have used on myself and other people, those that I mentor, those that come to me for counseling. And these are proven, are solutions that have worked for them. And these are people who are able to, speak strong or family. They have gained their self-esteem. They know they deserve more, so they will never settle for less. So if you find yourself in a situation where you are settling for less, where you are just taking in rubbish from people, where people are stepping on you and you are allowing it, you need to get yourself thrive above self-sabotage. You'll be able to live better and to live a more authentic as well as fulfilled life. So in part of this book, there is this where I say, what is your story? It is the second chapter. After looking at feeling unworthy and all that, some of the signs that may get you to feel unworthy, we are asking, what is your story? Now, before you got to the position that you are in right now, something must have happened. You just don't feel unworthy from the blue. You do not feel unworthy. You were not born with that. That is not the case. Something must have happened. What could have happened that drove you to be feeling unworthy, that made you feel like you are undeserving? Now, each one of us has a story. I have my own story. Everyone has their own story. I have my mentor. I have actually quite a number of mentors, but I want to zero down to two. Nankwanga Eunice Kasiri, the one that wrote the forward for me, and then Bahati Hilda Sabiti. She's also one of my mentor and a friend as well. These are both my friends, I want to say. But these are ladies that I admire so much. These are ladies that I look up to so much. But guess what? They are two different ladies in two different fields. Their stories are totally different. But the end result with both of them is they are go-getters. They do not settle for less. They know their worth. And that is the beauty about it. And that's how I love them so much. Because these women will never settle for less. But remember, they both have their stories. We were sharing with Hilda a few days ago, and she was talking about her story. Someone asked her how she was able to get to where she is right now. Someone asked to know her life story, and she told us, my story is a very long one, and she shared with us part of her story. But one thing I loved when she was sharing with us is she owned her story. She got to know, yes, this is my story. This is what people are saying. This is what people are trying to put me down to, but I am not settling for that, because I know something great lies ahead of me. Now, the same applies with Eunice. Now, Eunice also has her own story. She got to a point in life where people will try to judge her, where maybe she will not be her best self, had she not known her worth and all that, because society was trying to judge her. Society was trying to make sure she lives how society thinks she's supposed to live. The same applies to me. I have my own story. My story is both beautiful. I have this ugly side as well. Now, we all have these ugly sides. My ugly sides, I'll say I'm not so proud of. And the mistakes that I made in my life, I think these are mistakes. Oh, it is a mistake that I made in 1 year. But I do not really regret it, because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot while I was trying to grow up. Maybe with time, I will share into details. But if you go to my previous videos, I shared part of my journey. I shared how it is important for us to own our stories. Now, each and every one of us has their own story. My story might be different from yours. Your story might be different from another person's, but the end result is going to be you acknowledging it and taking it for positive, or you allowing it to ruin your life for the rest of the time that you are going to be here on earth. So it is very important that you get your story. So in this book, I ask, what is your story? And I go ahead to say, embrace your story. Do not compare it to any other. I've already said it. We all have different stories, and we have to embrace our stories. It is from these stories that we make better human beings. It is from these stories that we learn. It is from these stories that we do things differently from other people. It is at times actually our stories that help us to be change makers, that help us to be people that are going to transform the world. You were not born with the stories. You were not born with the feelings of unworthiness that you're having right now, but all these came up as a result of the story. But how your story is going to work in your favor or against you is how you handle it. If you embrace your story, if you take up your story and tell your story, then you will tell it the right way. But when you let the world tell your story, then it is going to be told in the interest of the world. Remember, not everyone has your interest at heart. Someone is going to know your story, and they will tell it the way they want to tell it. And this way might be a way that is going to drop you, the way that is going to break you. But if you tell your story, the lessons that you're going to get out of, the lessons that someone is going to get out of, but only that happens when you tell your story. So it is what I write down in this book. And I said is one important thing you need to remember is that not everyone has experienced the same life events like you have, because each of us has a different story, a story we ourselves can tell or let others do for us. It is upon you to choose who tells the story. But you can be sure that when you let others tell your story, the worst can be told, because not everyone has your best interest at heart. You are special because you are the only one who can tell your story and make meaning of it. Now, let's talk about someone who has failed their examinations. Let's say you are doing your final examinations, maybe in O level or at A level, and then you fail. Now, the story is going to be you failed. That is what everyone knows. Someone might come up and say, Comfort failed her O level because she was sleeping around with men, because she was dodging classes, because they didn't have school fees, she was always out of class. That is a story. But remember, the end result is you failed your examinations. Someone might concoct a lot of stories, and then the end result is you failed. And there is proof that indeed you failed. The papers are there. Papers do not lie. Now, that is a negative story about you. But remember, the truth to the matter could be that, maybe you were sickly. Or maybe your parents were really, really working very hard to make sure that you go to school. But then school fees was not enough. Or maybe you were, a self-sponsored student that you had to work so that you can be able to be in class, which is the reason why you were always not at class, which is the reason why you were not in those in the lessons. You were not able to attend preps and all that because you had to go and look for money. Now, that is something that is positive, because for a student in this era to work hard, to go and work so that they can pay their school fees, is something that is positive. It is something that is inspiring. But that can only happen if you come out to tell your story, because you best understand your story. You best know how you got to where you are at the moment. But when you let the world tell your story, the world will tell your story in a negative way, and in a way that will not glorify God, in a way that will not glorify yourself either. So it is very important that we need to embrace our stories. I do not know what your story is, but your story is yours. No one can own your story, but people can own it if you keep quiet, if you do not come out to tell it. So embrace your story, be proud of your story. No matter how nasty it is your story. It is a part of your past. You can only do better. You can say, yes, in my past I did ABCD, which I'm not proud of, but it is not something I'm ashamed of, because I did it. Out of it, I learned lessons. Out of it, I'm able to be a better person. That is what each and every one of us is supposed to be. So whatever your story is, make sure that you embrace it and you love it. So what you need to know, that it is very, very important for you to embrace your story, because it is part of your life, whether you love it or not. Now, one mistake many of us make at times is trying to ignore or to forget and say, no, that was not part of my story. Or at times you do not want the stories to come out. Now, when you get to such a point, that is when you're going to be manipulated, or that is when you are going to be blackmailed. We've seen celebrities who have had children while they were still young, and then when they're celebrities, they try to hide that part of their life, and guess what? Someone who knows them will come out and start blackmailing them with their past. Now, if you do not embrace your story, someone is going to use that very same story to destroy you. But you know the bit about embracing stories, when you embrace it, when someone comes out to try to, to break you with that story, society will already know what the story is. You will already have, said it, and people will be able to relate with you. So it is very important for you to embrace your story, for you to acknowledge it and say, it is part of my life. I cannot do away with it. It is not a chapter that I'm very proud of, but it is a chapter that is in my life. So what am I going to do? I can't erase the past, but surely I can work on my present and my future. And that is what you need. That is what I need. This is Joy and Comfort Inspiration YouTube channel. Here we learn, we unlearn, and relearn. So it is very important that while you come here, come with an open mind. Now, down here, I go ahead to highlight some of the factors that might lead to our stories. Because remember, I said these stories do not come from anywhere. We were not born with these stories. These are things that we live with. These are things that crop up every passing day, every passing minute while we live. We talk about the toxic inner critique, and we go ahead to look at negative life experiences. This could be why your story is that way. We talk about the external or emotional triggers, things that might be adding to your story, and the mental health conditions. It is very important that you get yourself this book so that you'll be able to understand yourself best, so that you can know how best you can as well embrace your story and be the one to tell it, not let other people tell it. Once again, my name is Joy and Comfort Agazu. If you haven't subscribed please do hit the subscription button. Let us grow this family. Let us be change makers. Let us live our best lives. Let's be authentic people. For God and my country, I leave you blessings. God be with you.